Hello, my name is Matthias Strecker, and I'm a lawyer working in Germany. I studied at the University of Aberdeen in 2009 and 2010 as part of the Erasmus program, so I was actually an exchange student.
Interesting, thank you. And what inspired you to study law?
Well, so after school, my plan was to become a journalist, actually, so quite different from a lawyer. And I did a lot of internships with newspapers, different newspapers, local and national ones. And one thing that I heard from basically all the professionals there was don't study journalism, study something else that's
Mm-hmm.
interesting, and then come back to journalism. So law interested me because basically it has an overlap with many different areas of daily life. It has a big overlap with politics, but also a lot of other things. So yeah, that's just what appealed to me. And this is how I ended up studying law. And over time, yeah, it just kind of my focus shifted, and I thought, okay, I'll stick with law.
Yeah, interesting. And what are some of your favorite memories from Aberdeen?
Oh, so in Aberdeen, definitely all the student organizations and clubs. I was a member of the volleyball club,
Mm-hmm.
and so this was a lot of fun just to meet new people, and of course also that I think the university is really welcoming. I was a foreign student, and it wasn't a problem at all for me. Also, that I was on the exchange program was really not a problem, and it was really easy to find people to get along with. So that was great.
That's nice. And so, what key lessons did you learn, did you take from your experience at High Regional Court of Frankfurt that were valuable for you?
Yeah, so to explain to the viewers,
Mm-hmm.
because I am in Germany, and of course the legal system is a little bit different here. I worked as a law clerk at the High Regional Court of Frankfurt, which is a requirement after you graduate from university. You
Mm-hmm.
need to take 2 more years of clerkship, which is kind of an extra training. And so this is mandatory. And one thing that I took away from that time was, like in your actual professional life, things really don't get handed to you, and you have to adapt to it. And of course, when you first realize this, it can be kind of annoying because often in university, it's much easier to get a grasp of what you're supposed to do, while during the clerkship, you're pretty much so there's no one holding your hands, and but on the other hand, this really prepares you for yeah, your actual job, where it's kind of the same.
Interesting. And what motivated your transition from working in international law firms to in-house role at Athora?
Yes, so I worked in law firms for about 6 years, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much exactly 6 years, and I think after such a time span, you realize how your career is going to progress. And in a big law firm, there are certain steps that are expected of you. And of course, you will not be fired. At least in Germany, that's not really possible to fire someone without a reason. But if you don't take these progressive steps,
Mm-hmm.
then um, you will not really progress in your career. And what you have to realize is that in a law firm, the partnership is, of course, very much driven by the profits that they can generate for themselves. This means you have to do a lot of business development. And in my case, I just decided that I like the job as a lawyer, but the business development part, which is really important for being a partner in a law firm, was not my strongest suit. So I decided to step away from the law firm career, even though I enjoyed it. But yeah, for the long-term perspective, it wasn't where I was going.
Interesting. And having worked on both German and cross-border M&A transactions, what are some of the biggest differences in handling domestic versus international deals?
I wouldn't say that there are differences per se. The way that I would put it is that if you have an international transaction, you get additional layers. So it's not that you do something completely differently. It's more that you have to involve additional people. So, for example, obviously from different jurisdictions for the same legal areas. At the same time, you have to really think about regulations in different countries. And so, for example, you have the competition authorities. Maybe if you're in Germany and it's a smaller deal, it's possible that you don't even have to file. But if a non-EU country is involved, then you have the European Commission. You maybe have the authority in 5 different other countries. So I think it's this additional layer of things that you just need to organize.
Interesting. Thank you. And in your current role as a senior legal counsel, what are the main challenges that you're facing during your day-to-day routine? What do you do?
I think one of the biggest challenges for me was when I was transitioning from my previous career, which was in M&A and transactions, to Athora, was that at Athora, which is a life insurance company, there's a really big impact from the regulatory standpoint. So the German financial regulator, BaFin, I'm in contact with them quite regularly, which I was not used to before I left the firm. So I think for me, this was really the biggest point. It's all these regulations that were not as important when you were, or when I was in a more transactional role.
Interesting. Thank you. And how do you stay updated on evolving changes in regulations and market trends in the legal field?
So of course you have legal magazines and things like that, which is quite normal for lawyers to have a look at that. In addition, actually, I think you can get good pointers from LinkedIn when you are connected to colleagues who are active in maybe different fields of law. And I always find it interesting when someone posts an article and says, okay, we have a new development for, IP law. So this is something that probably I wouldn't really hear about. So with LinkedIn, it's always interesting. Another option is, of course, that the Association of German Life Insurers has a newsletter which publishes all the upcoming legal changes for life insurance companies. So this is quite essential for someone like myself. And at the moment, we are also trying to set up an AI tool that tries to do some horizon scanning and see which legal changes are coming up. So this is something that we're currently working on, and it will be quite interesting if it really works out. I haven't yet really seen it in action, but I'm looking forward.
That's great. And how do you mentor or support junior legal professionals who are looking to specialize in M&A and corporate law?
So when I was still at Hogan Lovells and also the other law firms that I was working at, we really involved junior lawyers and trainees quite heavily. So at these firms, at least for our team, it was quite normal that we would have trainees who would work with the lawyers almost on the same level. So there were some jobs that normally the junior or mid-level lawyers would do that were sometimes outsourced to trainees. I should say that in Germany, the trainees don't usually work at the firm 5 days a week. So maybe they are 3 or 4 days. So it's not like you can give them the actual project, but they are really quite involved. So, for example, they work on due diligence reports, they work on contractual documents, and I always try to involve them really on an early stage, and usually this worked out really well.
Interesting. And looking back, what is the proudest moment in your career?
I don't really have one moment. To be quite honest, I always took it as a really big success each time that I was able to take the next step. So it wasn't always clear for me that I would get really good grades at Marburg University, which I managed to do. So that was a big success for me. Then I applied to study for the LLM, the Master of Laws at the London School of Economics. And again, I wasn't sure that I would be accepted, but in the end I was. The next step, starting at the law firm, Willkie Farr Gallagher at the time, again, I applied there because I was really interested in what they were doing in their projects and transactions, but I had no idea if I was going to be accepted. Yeah. And it was really like step after step, which was always a success for me.
That's very nice. And what would be your advice for students who are looking to break into M&A, private equity, or corporate law?
So my biggest advice is something that I might not be the first to tell them, but I really think it's important to do internships. Of course, it depends on your local jurisdiction. So in Germany, you can do internships, you can do these clerkship trainings. It's not always mandatory to do it in a law firm. Sometimes you can choose to do it somewhere else. But yeah, my recommendation is always look at different law firms as well. Do internships at different law firms if that's possible. For example, in England, you have these summer programs, which I would also really recommend, depending on your own jurisdiction. But it's really important to get to know the teams, because in the end, you will be working with the people there, not really, it doesn't matter what name is on the door. Yeah, so, and also you will be quite heavily involved if you are doing these programs. So it's really my recommendation. If you want to have a look, then do it. It always pays off.
The last question is, what advice would you give to your younger self?
The advice that I give to my younger self would be to be confident, to stay interested in the subjects that are relevant for the future career, but also to, look left and right. I think this was something that really paid off for me. Don't just focus on one point that on one legal field. It's always a good idea to have a look to your left and right, because if you're working in M&A, you will be working with a lot of different legal fields. So, for example, you need to have an overview of the financing. You need to know about employment law as well. So you don't need to be an expert on everything, but it's really important to be interested in all of these fields and just at least know what's going on. So my advice would really be broaden your view.